Okay, so these are our exponent rules. So there should have been a video where you watched how to set this up, either in your notebook or using the foldable. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So a negative exponent. If we look and we had 4 to the negative 6th power. A negative exponent, what it actually does is that it moves it from the top to the bottom. So what I mean by that, and again, I'm going to show you on this calculator just because I want you to see it happen. So if I do 4, and you notice you have to hit this caret button to the negative 6th, it's going to give you a weird answer like that. If you hit math, enter, enter, it shows you 1 over a number. So what it's actually doing is it's taking whatever is our number and it's going to move it to the denominator. So, or vice versa. So it would be 1 over 4 to the same power, but instead of it being negative, it's going to be positive. So notice it moves it to the denominator. Okay, then if we're trying to generalize these and make a rule out of it, so what we do is if I have x to a negative number, and we're just going to use n for number, then you rewrite it as 1 over x to the n power. So whatever the base is, remember we call this a base, with a negative exponent, it moves it to the denominator. It would be the same thing if it was like 1 over 2 to the negative squared. So it moves it from the numerator to the denominator, or if it's in the denominator, it would move it to the numerator. So it would be 2 squared. And I really wanted to write that in pink, but I forgot. So we're just going to have to live with it. Remember this 1, or not remember, but this 1 just acts as a placeholder. So we can't just write 4 to the 6th like that. You have to have a placeholder of a 1 over that. So let's go ahead and write our rule. So a negative exponent causes the number to be written as the reciprocal. Remember, that just means flip the fraction, as the reciprocal. And the exponent becomes positive. Grab my pink highlighter. So a negative exponent makes the reciprocal and it becomes positive. So if it's in the numerator, it moves to the denominator. If it's in the denominator, it moves to the numerator. And you could, if you really wanted to, write this over 1, but we don't have to write a fraction over 1 or a number over 1 because it's just that number. Okay, the 0 exponent rule, this one is, in my opinion, the easiest. So if we do, or I wanted that to be pink and I forgot to pick up the pink. 4 to the 0 power. Watch what 4 to the 0 power is. It's just 1. Watch what 50,000 to the 0 power is 1. It's like saying there's 0 of them. So the answer to that is just 1. X, or any number to the 0 power, is 1. And let me show you something with that really quick. The reason that we have to make it 1 is because if I had 4 to the 0 times x squared, if I made this a 0 and I multiplied, that would change everything to 0. So pretty much this just cancels out. It becomes 1. So it would just be x squared. So just keep that in mind. Don't think that it makes it 0. So then any number, sorry, the bells are still ringing. Any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Sorry, I'm here on the weekend and apparently the bells ring, or I'm here on a Monday and apparently the bells ring, even when there's nobody in the building. So any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, let's go ahead and do an example. Sorry, my keys were on top of my example. So let's do an example together. So if I have 7x to the negative 2, y to the 0 over y. So if I have, think about the rules we just talked about. This negative exponent, we move it to the denominator and we write the exponent as positive. So that x to the negative 2 goes away on the top, and now it's written on the bottom. Then, and I'm going to do this in different colors so you can see it, anything raised to the 0 power, this y or this unknown number, doesn't matter if it's a 500 or if it's just 5, it just cancels and becomes 1. So it would be 7 times 1 on top over what's left on bottom is y x squared. Well, 7 times 1 is just 7. And then it's x or yx squared. Now, I am a math teacher and I'm kind of particular, and some people might say OCD, but you want to write it, you always write your answers alphabetically. So x squared y is actually how you would write that. Just make sure that you keep the squared with the x, and then your y doesn't have an exponent. So your final answer, if we were simplifying this, would be 7x squared y. Remember, any negative power moves it to the bottom, any 0 power just cancels out. Okay, let's do one more. Let's say I had 4x to x cubed over x squared, negative squared, sorry. Okay, so this x to the negative 2 power would cancel, not cancel, it would move to the top. So then it would be x squared. Okay, so meaning that your final answer would be 4. You'd have x cubed y squared. And in the next video, we are going to talk about simplifying those and how you can simplify that as a single one. So then in the next video, we'll come back to this problem.